In the next 10 minutes, I will outline why so many companies are seeing no financial return from their generative AI investments and provide specific evidence-backed playbook that separates the top performers from the rest. We're moving past the question of if we should adopt AI. The strategic conversation now is about how to extract material enterprise-level value. This briefing is designed to provide a clear framework for converting widespread adoption into measurable P&L impact and shareholder value. Let's begin by quantifying the problem. Just how wide is the gap between activity and value? The data from 2025 is unequivocal. The market is saturated with AI adoption, but starved of value. According to McKinsey's latest global survey, nearly 80% of companies are using AI. Yet, for the vast majority, around 80%, this has produced no discernible impact on enterprise-level EBIT. We see a clear bottleneck, what Deloitte calls pilot purgatory, where 70% of firms simply cannot get their experiments into production. This creates a starkly divided landscape. At the very top, a leaders cohort, roughly 26%, is delivering 50% revenue growth and 60% 3-year average TSR versus peers. A 4% frontier subset sits at the very forefront of capability. Note that this suggests that you don't even need to be in the 4% frontier subset to see those financial returns from artificial intelligence at an enterprise scale. You just need to be in the 26%. This isn't just a marginal difference. Let's look at the financial cost of being in the bottom 70%. Failing to execute on AI is now a direct threat to shareholder value. The performance gap is not subtle. Based on 3-year data from BCG, leaders' revenue growth has been 50% higher than their peers. They are generating 60% more total shareholder return, and they are doing it more efficiently with a 40% advantage in return on invested capital. This demonstrates that mastering AI at scale is not an IT project. It is a fundamental driver of corporate performance. So what precisely are these leaders doing differently? The first mandate is about governance and focus. The single strongest correlate with AI-driven EBIT impact is CEO oversight. Where value is being created, the CEO is on point for governance. It is not delegated solely to a technology function. This executive sponsorship forces a level of strategic discipline that is otherwise absent. Leaders are ruthless in their focus. They pursue half as many use cases as their peers, 3 to 4 on average, and they ensure those bets are tied to the core operations of the business. BCG finds that 60% of the value comes from transforming core operations, research and development, and sales, not from tinkering with support functions. This discipline extends directly to how they allocate capital. It's not about the tech, it's about the transformation. AI leaders follow a disciplined 10-20-70 ratio investment rule. Just 10% of their budget goes to the algorithms themselves, whether these are LLMs or any other machine learning models. 20% is for the technology and data platforms. And the vast majority, 70%, is allocated to the hard work of change, which is redesigning processes, reskilling people, and driving adoption. This is the single biggest budgetary difference between leaders and laggards. Underinvesting in the 70% is one of the reasons technically sound models fail to generate return. This investment in transformation supports the creation of a true execution engine. How do leaders escape pilot purgatory? They stop funding projects and start building a factory. The ad hoc approach to AI fails at scale. As we've seen, it leaves most experiments stranded. Leaders, by contrast, are 3.3 times more likely to be successful at scaling. Perhaps a reason for this is because they invest in a modular, reusable AI platform. This industrializes the process. It provides a common data access, security guardrails, and AI and ML ops capabilities that serve many use cases, dramatically lowering the marginal cost of deployment. Crucially, they embed governance into this platform from the start, using frameworks like NIST AI Risk Management Framework. This turns compliance from a bottleneck into an accelerator, enabling them to move faster with confidence. But even a perfect factory produces nothing of value unless it's connected to the business. This brings us to the final and most critical hurdle. The data is clear. The largest single driver of financial return from AI is not the technology itself, but the workflow redesign. You can give an employee a faster tool, but if you don't change the work, you haven't created enterprise value. A developer with a coding assistant might complete a task 55% faster, but that gain evaporates unless you see a corresponding improvement in the system level metrics. Your project lead times, your deployment frequency, your quality. Leaders understand this. They make workflow redesign a mandatory funded component of every AI initiative, and they pair it with a relentless disciplined KPI tracking. If system level metric doesn't move, the project is a failure. Finally, underpinning all of this is the need to manage risk in an evolving regulatory landscape. Robust risk management is no longer optional. It is a prerequisite for scaling AI in your most important markets. Leaders treat risk and compliance as an accelerator, not a barrier. They shift left, bringing legal and risk teams in at the beginning to build pre-approved patterns and guardrails. This avoids costly reworks and delays later on. The landscape is solidifying. The EU AI Act imposes legally binding obligations for high-risk systems. In the UK, regulators like the ICO are actively enforcing existing laws on data protection and equality in the context of artificial intelligence. Having a defensible, well-documented approach to responsible AI is now table stakes for earning the right to operate and innovate. So, how do we translate these insights into a concrete plan? Here is the leadership playbook. These 6 actions are the clear evidence-backed playbook for generating enterprise value from artificial intelligence. First, assign accountability at the top. The CEO and the CFO must own governance and value KPIs. Second, reallocate your budget using the 10-20-70 rule. Fund the change management. Third, focus relentlessly. Kill the dozens of pilots and fund 3 to 5 core processes. Fourth, build the factory, a scalable AI platform with industrialized operations. Fifth, mandate and fund workflow redesign and KPI tracking for every single initiative. And finally, sixth, institutionalize risk management to move faster and safer. This is the proven path to move from activity to impact and to join the small circle of firms winning with artificial intelligence.